Hey guys, my name is Hashim Mohammed and welcome to this Hack Project tutorial. In this video, we'll be creating a journal application without code using Glide. Now, there are a lot of journal applications out there, but the reason I'm making this video is that about a couple of weeks ago, I was tasked with the responsibility to take notes for my the internship that I had been doing, and it has actually I probably won't be able to express it in words properly, but I think it has made a difference in how I looked at my previous work and sort of allowed me to reflect and learn more about what I had been doing. So I think journaling has helped a lot, and I think yeah, everybody has a different way of looking at taking notes. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll make this video and help you guys make your own kind of journal application. And if your way of journaling sort of helps a lot of other people, then it could be helpful. So that's why I'm making this video. And probably you can take this this project further with any other cool features that you can add. Anyway, so we're going to use something called Glide Apps. Now, Glide Apps is essentially just the thing that allows us to create the front end of the application, but the storage is going to be using the Microsoft Office's alternative from Google, which is Google Sheets. Now, you need to have a Google account. I presume that most of you guys already have the thing, so you just need to go to sheets.new, or you can go to sheets.new here, and this will allow you to sort of create your own spreadsheet. Now that's a fast way of doing things. So now call this spreadsheet whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call this journal app just for this tutorial, and you can call the sheet one as something like home or whatever you want, but I'm gonna call this events. And you need to have some columns here before you start editing on the glide. So a lot of times I prefer to use the Google spreadsheets thing because I mean unless it sort of creates the stuff for myself, by itself, then I don't think. There is also a possible you can edit the whole application within Glide also. So let's call this. We're gonna have different ways of storing content or data. And also, by the way, you can distribute this application to anybody. They can create an account, have their own list of items. Now our daily journal application will have, obviously, the first thing is the date. When is he, for which date is he talking about? Now I'm going to do daily journal application, but if you're doing something like, for instance, let's say um, surrounding a project or a tutorial or something, not tutorial, but let's say any project or any work or anybody, you can also do that. um, but I'm going to do it for days. Now, for every day or some days, I might have something that I really did something and I want to write about it. Um, so that's what the date is. Now, there are easy ways and hard ways of doing it, but more than easy or hard, it's about how you want to organize your notes. Now, one way, the easiest way obviously, is the activity and notes are basically just like paragraphs. So, for instance, on that day, you learn something, you can just type your activities that you did, like, in like a paragraph, if that's what you want. Or I don't prefer to have it like this. I'll tell you how I personally would prefer it, but I'll show you different approaches, okay? I'm going to explore three different approaches in this tutorial, but I'm pretty sure you can come up with far more than that. But yeah, let's go to glideapps.com here. Let's choose our spreadsheet that we just selected, and I'm going to select that. And let's go to I really don't like the light application in especially when I'm journaling, so I prefer to have the dark thing and like the pure black stuff. Okay, so you want to go to privacy, you want to say sign in is public with email. Now this allows the user to sort of sign up and then use the application. Otherwise, you'll be able to edit everybody else's journals as well, which is not what you want. Again, you still have more steps you want to do. You want to go to features here. You want to say user data is filters rows by signed in user. Now, also for every date and activity and notes, there should be a creator. So every entity in this entry will have the creator, and creator is marked by the email address. So uh, email address is the main identification field in Glide. So now I want to say that the user email is stored in, let's reload this sheet here for a second, and we will choose creator. So I'm sorry, let's go to add here. Now over here, as you can see, the creator field is not here. And I don't know how it figured out, but so by the way, it's not notes, it's reflections. So yeah, let's go to reload sheet here. That's what I like to call it. But let's go to plus here. Well, where's the reflection field? Come on, I just renamed it. Alright, it's okay, but you can remove all of this. Now I'm gonna go to plus here. The first thing is you want to add all the like the correct fields here. Now, if you don't want to allow the user to sort of select the date, if you want the user to sort of just take the don't want to like the date is whatever. I mean, if you want the user to sort of not enter the date and take the today's date and just add that, then you can choose this. This will take today's date and just add it there, and the time as well. So if that's what you want, now you can store the date or the date and time. Um, I don't think there's any necessity to store the time, so I'm just gonna store the date alone. So the date is going to be whatever, and now this gives me a proper input field. Now this is on a computer, but when you're choosing this on iOS or Android, it looks a lot better. Okay, so yeah. um, so which date are you reflecting upon? So you want to make this required because it's the most important field, otherwise users cannot add this. Okay, so in this approach we have the activity and the user stuff. Now what you can do is you can allow the user to sort of write the oh sorry, not rich text, I'm sorry, it's notes. um you can they can write what did you do, or your activities, whatever you can write about it. So so your activities here, now this will appear when you actually type in here. So what did you do today, this day? Now you can just store that, and you can also add another field called another notes section. This is going to be for reflections. So you want to say what did you do instead of saying what did you learn this day. Reflections. It should be the other way around actually, but it's okay. So for every day you learn something, and do. And by the way, you also need to store who created this item, because that's how we know who created this. So you want to go to email, and this will take the person, whoever is the email. So instead of asking user to enter your email address again because he's already signed in, that's going to be wrong. So I'm going to take that value and store that onto the creator field in my Google spreadsheet. So let's check this out. So let's choose today's date, which is 13th of October. What did I do today? I ate my breakfast. Now, this is a problem with this approach, is that now you can write your own sort of values here. So you can say, I ate my breakfast, I made a tutorial and on creating a journal app. Um, I learned blogs, I booked a flight ticket to Malta. So, and then these are all the things I did, and then what I learned today. I learned that simple steps make a big difference, and I don't know. You can sort of write like this, And then what this will do is when I click on add, um, so these are different views here that you can use if this is what you want. But since this has dates, I'm going to choose calendar. Now, the title is again this, so you can choose activities, and this will have the values here. Um, Now, I personally would simple steps make a difference. I think this is much better, right? So having reflections here. So as you can see here on the title, it shows the activities and all that stuff, which is not what I want. I want to have the date. All right, let's go back here. It shows the time here, which is not something I want actually. But it's okay. I'm gonna remove this title field altogether, and I don't want to show who I am, the creator. So it shows me the reflections, and I also want to show the activities that I did. So um, I can show it in the form of a rich text um, that will take the activity field and put it over there, or I can just enter the notes thing again, and I can enter the activity, and so activities, and I can take the reflections. Oh, sorry, notes. I'm gonna add that again, and then take the reflections value there. So reflections. Now, as you can see here, when I open this thing here, I can add notes. So for every single day, so for tomorrow, I will say, I I hiked on this mountain. Now you can add pictures if you want to, whatever else. Um, Maybe I want to say, Mike doesn't buy happiness, whatever. Now, this is what I learned today, and this is what I learned yesterday. Um, this is a really cool app. Also, you can allow the user to sort of edit this. I mean, yeah, allow yourself to edit this whenever you want to. Again, when you do that, you want to make sure you want to reformat this. So you want to remove this text entry here, allow the user to delete. You want to add the notes, say reflections. So, what did you learn today? Again, I'm going to do this really quick, reflections. And I'm going to add another field called notes again. Let me tie that to activity. What did you do today? And say that is required, and this also is required. Put that on top of each other, and also the email, which is their user's email address, and type that onto the creator. And I want to choose a date, and that's going to be required date. So let's go over here and choose a date on top. So now we have the edit field also. This allows us to edit our fields. Now this is cool enough. You can allow the user to store images, phone numbers, whatever you want to. But if you don't like this approach, um, and if you, let's say for example, you want to store a list of things, like in a day you might have times. So for example, at 10 o'clock I did this, and at 11 o'clock I want to store something else. And instead of clicking on add, edit note and typing it over here, you might say, I might as well write it on a notes app, right? So why do I need to store this? I mean, there are conveniences obviously with this interface, but apart from that, I think there's not a lot of difference. So another way to structure your application is to keep a list of items here. So what I mean by that is when I go here, okay, instead of saying activities as a paragraph like this, you can store a list. So that will allow you to store more, like, you know, to give more sort of, to explain more in each activity. And again, there's two other ways of, implementing this feature. Okay, one is that you can, like, three ways actually. okay, there are three possibilities. Now, one is you can now this is a like if you're happy with this, you can walk away, like because the tutorial is already done. If you feel this is okay with you, but personally, I don't know. I don't think this is how I would choose it. Now, I don't want to enter what I did this day, like this. I think so. If this works for you again, I'm then just go ahead. But the other approach is you can do activities and reflections as a list. Now, this is how the three approaches are. The first one is for every activity, you can store the reflections as you enter an item. Now, for example, let's say I bought a new game console today. Let's say PlayStation 4. Now, what is a reflection? I shouldn't spend on stupid things. Now, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but okay, let's say that makes sense. Um, that's one approach. For everything you enter, you have a reflection, and you immediately reflect on what you did. Now, that's one possibility. If that works for you, then let's do that. Or the other approach is you can keep the activities different and reflections different. Because, in my opinion, not everything you do needs to have a reflection. Now, let's say, for example, I ate my breakfast and I made a tutorial on creating a journal app. Now, I ate my breakfast. now, now maybe you have some things on what you ate for breakfast. You ate something like a pizza, and then you reflected and said, you know what, pizza is really bad for my health. So, if you have a reflection like that, then okay. But sometimes not everything will have a reflection. So activities and reflections are stored completely different. That's one. And there's another possibility, and that is that you keep activities and reflections in a single list. Okay? Now, what I mean by that is, for example, every time you add a new, let's say, activity, you can say that whether what you're adding is an activity or a reflection. It's the same thing, but the organization is just different. You want to say, uh, there'll be a drop down that says, is this an activity or is this a reflection? So you want to choose that, type in what you did, and then you click on add. That's one possibility. Whichever works for you, you can do that. But let's do that thing here today, okay? So we're gonna click on plus here. We'll say form button. It will say open thing. Let's first create the buttons, and then we'll create the other stuff. So let's say add um, activity, add activity, um, and then we're gonna also add another button for add. I'm sorry, but form button. Say add reflection. Now, what essentially this will do is it will allow us to open up another form entry. Okay. um, but we don't want to open up. Now, at the moment, we don't have any other sheets, so we need to create two different sheets here today. The first one is going to be activities, and the other one is called reflections. Now, you want to store again the for every again you want to go back to your application, so reload sheet. Now this will add the tabs on the bottom. Yes, let's go to tabs here. I'll reload the sheet again. Um, what's happening? Actually, it's supposed to add those tabs down there, but it's not adding. If it adds here, you need to just make those hidden because you don't really want to show this. Oh, we don't really have any values. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some values here. The first one is the content, and here also is the content. So for every activity, okay, there there will be the activity's main content there, right? So this is what there's going to type in. Um, Also, for every reflection, now because these are stored in different sheets, you want to open up a form that does that. So let's click on reload here. Now, let's go back here and remove this thing here. This is what happened. I just don't want to show this. Okay, let's go back to tab here. Hide them. I only want to have one tab there. I don't know why I go back there all the time, but okay. So What you want to do is you want to go to layout. All right. Now we have the activity here. Let's remove this reflections. All right. Now let's store a list of things here. Now for this, I might need to remove this fields. All right. And then we want to like reformat this, but it's okay. I'm going to remove all of the values so far. We're going to start from scratch again, except again, we don't have any values to play with. Oh shit. Maybe when I have something. Alright. Let's let's store back the oops. Let's delete this. Alright, so now we have well, let's reload the sheet again. Alright, I guess we need to go back to doing this. It's okay. So we have the activity and the reflections. But this time what we want to do is want to go here. I would say add activity, and this will open up the activity sheet here, and this will allow us to type in what is the individual activity. So what is that I learned today? So I can say something like I ate a banana. Now one of the problems with this is when I say I ate a banana, that will be added over here, but how do I visualize that I ate a banana inside this activity? So the way I can do that is I can say, okay, well, dude, what you want to do is you want to choose the activity here, and um, so do something like take the values over. You want to store, let's say, um, the uh, the the date as well, because each like I ate a banana on which date, that date will come from the previous page, which is from this page, because you already have the date here. All right, so you want to take that date and put it over here. So I want to store that also, so be something like date. Now this date here will come from the events uh, date field. I don't know if I'm making sense, but this field here is gonna come there. Alright, so let's check it out though. Reload sheet, and when I click on add activity, I can add a reference. Oh, sorry, no. I can choose a date, and I'll store that onto. Okay, I need to not keep this as a reference. Alright, so I'll go here and I'll remove this in here. Let's keep it just date here for a second, because references are not allowed to be edited from the front end. So let's go reload this sheet here. Reloading. Let's delete this for a second. Let's go to add activity and click on date, and then store it onto date. Okay, so now I say I ate a banana, and I click on submit. That has been added here. So now one of the problems is that it stores I ate a banana and it stores over there. The only thing is that I also need to store a creator here, because, well, otherwise I'll be able to see I ate a banana on other people's users also. Other people will be able to see I ate a banana. So I guess that's a problem. So let's fix that also. So we're going to say user email address to be stored onto creators. So oops, say yes, add activity, creator. Alright, so when I say I ate a banana, that will store my email address also. So let's say I ate a banana, click on submit, and that should store my email address also. Okay, that's cool. Now let's click on add a reflection. Let's do the same thing here. I'm gonna copy the creator field over here. I wanna reload this sheet here. Add reflection. Let's go back to, oops, sorry, data here, and date and time is okay. but you want to change the thing to date. This should come from the date from the events field. So yeah, there you go. And the creator is now what you want to type in. You want to type in the reflection here actually. Oh, this is a problem. Date is gonna come to the wait. What am I doing? Um, content goes to content, date, and creator is not there. So we do that. Now I'm gonna store that on the creator. All right, that's pretty cool. Guess we have all the stuff here, um, but let's we have all this stuff here, but let's go back to this and you know what we want to do is you want to say want to add an inline list because what we want to do is we want to display a list of all the activities that have been going on. So we say activities is equal to activities um, uh, date multiple. And I know this is kind of difficult to understand, but I'll tell you guys what I'm doing here for a second. Reflections date multiple. So there's actually a way to copy this. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here. Now there's actually a formula that allows you to take all the values from the date and put it away here automatically. You can do that from the data editor actually. Um, I'm not really sure, like let's go to reflection here. Uh, da, 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 da. Wait, hold on a second. Okay, let's go back here. Layout here. Alright, so we have here the activities. And as you can see here, we have two activities called I ate a banana here because we have two activities. Really, guys, there are not two activities, this is one, okay? It's going to show activities here. So the calendar, and it's going to show what are the stuff I did. And I don't want to show this below the reflections. So I'm going to go back here, go to layout, and I want to copy the same thing here for reflections. So I want to add an inline list again below the reflections. And as a calendar, I'll configure that later. So let's add a reflection here. Say, Mom doesn't buy happiness. And click on submit. And these are all the reflections that I had for that day. So if I add an activity, say, I ate a pizza, add a reflection. Junk foods aren't cool. That will be added. Alright, so that's cool, right? So you can now you can only edit the date you're talking about. So this is one way of organizing notes. This is how I personally prefer, but it's not really a big deal, guys. Again, so you can change the thing to like add activity. So this will change the top field here. So instead of saying form, which is a boring thing, otherwise you can just say something like add, add, or you can say add reflection. You could say what did you learn today. Um, so this is one way of organizing stuff. Um, Ideally, what I would prefer is that you would choose to do is using this. Okay. So one of the things you should do uh, is when you're doing these activity relate items to the creator kind of times. Okay. See activities. Say relation. Multiple I'm gonna choose active native banana. So you can see some simple sample values here and check out how it looks in the data editor. I still actually, to be honest with you, don't know how to work with this. It's kind of uh, it's just chaos here. But yeah, I'll try to work with this and sort of get back to you. But I still personally prefer to work with the spreadsheets editor. However, guys, if you found this video useful, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, visit our new website at creatorschool.com for more interactive tutorials on creating applications with our code, and let me know what you guys think about this video. And if you have anything that you guys have created, you can share them with me, or my email address are in the comment section below. And I shall see you guys in another hack project tutorial very soon. Thank you guys for watching.